Hello and welcome to another PA Matches tutorial. This time we're going to be diving into the opening build order. However, before we begin, I just want to throw out two disclaimers. First off, Planetary Annihilation is currently a moving target. The game is constantly changing and opening builds are subject to change, sometimes drastically. Also, this video is not meant to be a doctrine of the law of the best opening build ever. There can be no such thing, since opening builds must be taken on a case-by-case basis depending on the terrain, metal spot location and quantity, your personal strategy, etc. Instead, this video is meant to be used as a framework as a solid opening build that can then be altered depending on your situation and strategy. So let's start looking at that opening build. I tried out a bunch of different orders on this build, and something that I've found is the standard metal energy factory tends to be pretty much the best, which is not a huge shocker. There's a reason why all of the top players tend to use generally the same build. So if you pay close attention to the economy, there's very little waste. We are losing out on a little bit of metal right now, but that pretty much happens all the time. And we are losing out on energy. However, here in a second, boom, now we are generating positive energy. Some people go metal, energy, metal, and some do metal, energy. It's very close between the two, and I haven't been able to find anything too specific on which one is better, because sometimes a little bit of walking can throw it off, or another thing that I've noticed is building a fabricator first tends to always run into stalls. So I've found that building a non-fabrication unit, such as a skidder like I did here, or doing something else like a spinner or stinger if you're going with bots first, often can be very helpful just to give your economy a little bit of time to grow before you start filling it full of fabricators. Another thing to note with this opening build is this build that I'm doing right here is pretty much just like pure economy. I don't build a single offensive unit in the opening 5 minutes. Instead, I put it mostly into building an advanced factory, which allows me to get an advanced factory out before 6 minutes, which could be a very viable strategy. Or you also have the option of taking all of that metal that is put into the advanced factory, since advanced factories are very expensive, and then instead building a bunch of factories and a bunch of units if you want to go for a more offensive. Another thing that I've noticed is by the time you get your 6th energy plant out, it's generally a good idea to then pop out an energy storage. Energy tends to fluctuate quite a lot. So right about the time where you get the 6th energy plant out, that's when you've got a very solid positive energy. So by putting out that storage, you're able to capture a lot of it and not waste as much energy, and then have energy storage for when your economy continues to fluctuate here in the future. So here I'm just continuing to expand. Gotta send fabricators everywhere. Expansion. It's something I hammer on so very often in all of my tutorials and gameplay recaps, because often people just don't expand enough. Expansion is very important in gaining enough map control, so at the start you want to get up some real nice long build queues with your fabricators, so as you start raiding and scouting, you're continuing to expand even while you're fighting. So by getting up some nice long build queues with your fabricators, multiple build queues, you don't want to put all of your fabricators all on one string of metal. You want to get multiple groups of fabricators going off in different directions, building metal extractors. Just constantly always put out groups of fabricators going out to claim more metal. More metal, more metal, more metal. I cannot stress that enough. And at this point, my economy is solid, and I've got a lot of economy to play with. So here's where the opening build is done. We're done. We're now done with the opening build, and start doing whatever you want. Do you want to go for an early bot rush? Build lots of bot factory if you're going to push hard with advanced. Build the advanced factory of your choice. Whatever your personal style calls for, this is about the time when you're wanting to go for it. There are other options earlier in, but those tend to be a little bit dicier. And like I said, this is just a framework for an opening build. And another thing at this point would probably be a good idea to start getting the commander to start building other stuff, because the energy is doing pretty darn well at this point. And that's about it. That's kind of your standard opening build with some guidelines on what to do next and how to change it up for your personal playstyle. So let me know in the comments how you go with your opening build, what you do, what works for you, and what doesn't work for you. If you're interested in more Planetary Annihilation tutorials, gameplay, and mod reviews, drop me a subscribe. I'll see you next time.